All right, so we set up this application with a React router. We're getting the right component loaded on the page whenever we go to one of these URLs. But I know that you notice now, every time I click on a link, it's sending off a request to the server to get that index.html page back. We can tell that because we get a little refresh up here when we click on a link. Now, if you wanted to, you could open up the DevTools and you could check that request out in the Network tab. But the question is, how do we prevent this behavior? Because we don't want to send a request to the index page over and over and over again, right? We already have it. We don't need to change it. We don't need to make that request. In fact, we just want to load in the component. So the way we do that is very, very simple. And I'm going to go where we have the nav bar. And instead of using anchor tags directly, we're just going to use something that is built into the React router. So let's import this. Now, first of all, at the top, I will say import, and then we're going to import a couple of things. So open up curly braces, and then we're going to import the link, and then the NavLink. Now, I'll explain the difference between these two in a minute, but for now, let's just say from React router. So we want to change these things right here from anchor tags directly to link tags. So let's just go ahead and change this to a link and close that link off as well. Now, the way we do this is by adding on a to property. And this is going to be where we want this link to go, just like the href attribute. So we want this to be to /. And now let's do the same for this thing. So I'll say link to about, and then close off the link tag. Then finally, I will say link to / contact, and close that off. All right, so now we've changed all those anchor tags to links, and if we go to the browser, it still looks the same. Have no fear. I am here. If we inspect this in the DevTools, then you're going to see it actually outputs an anchor tag. So what does this link tag do differently than the anchor tag that we've already put in there? What's the difference? All right, I'll tell you. The link tag over here that we imported from the React router DOM prevents the default action from occurring when we click on one of these anchor tags. So as you know, like we did a prevent default on a form submission to prevent the page being reloaded. And the link tag behind the scenes is doing something similar. It says something like, okay, prevent that default action of going out and making a request to a server. Well, we don't want that to happen anymore. Instead, I'm going to tell the React router DOM to take over and just load in the correct component based on the URL. Okay? Okay. So if I click on home, then we get the home component, but you'll notice we didn't refresh the page or send another request. So I'm going to click on about and then contact. See, now it's looking a lot smoother and quicker because we're not making that request anymore. That's fantastic. We always should use the link tag, even if we want to link to a page rather than anchor tags. So now I said that we also imported this thing right here, the NavLink. So let's see the difference. So if I type in NavLink instead to a link, and I'll do the same thing for contact, and I'll just leave the top one as it is for now. Okay, so let's save this and go back to our browser. Now, if I go to one of these, for example, about, and it works the same, but if I inspect this element, now we have this class applied to the element because of the NavLink class of active right here. We didn't get that with the link tag. If I click on home, you can see that we don't get that on the home link right here, but we do when we use the NavLink. When we use a NavLink to output an anchor tag, we get this active class. So this is very useful if we want to start applying some different styles to the active links, right? So now, I think we've made it about as clear as mud how to use Link and NavLink to link to different pages or components. I'm just kidding. You can go back and rewind and play around with it all you want. You'll be able to see if you haven't already. So what we're going to do, we're going to take a little break, and we will come back in the next section.